Well, I'm John Gregg, and I'm on the porch, and we're glad you joined us. But you know what? A funny thing happened. Before the pandemic, we made a few classic episodes. Some things are different, mainly the way I look, so see if you can spot it, but stay tuned. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. You almost beat me home, but as you know, you're always welcome on the front porch. I'm looking forward to just sitting down and visiting and relaxing or chilling out, as my younger son says today. I'm going to go freshen up my iced tea, and I'll be right with you. Back in 1976, and to me it means one thing, to you something else, but the CB, the Citizens Band radio, was real big. And I know you had experience with ham radios, right? Well, the Citizens Band came in and everybody in America had one. And I'd graduated from college that year, and I know you were still in junior high because I'm 6, 7 years older than you. But these CBs just went wild, and they had CB movies, Smokey and the Bandit. There was a song by a C.W. McCall that was about teddy bear or something like this. Everybody had one, and the government unlicensed them. That's why everybody got one, and so you'd just key the mic, and you'd say, how about you, whatever your handle was, your fake name, like you could be Miss Lisa, and I could be Captain Jack, or whatever you wanted. And I was sitting at the Sanborn Methodist Church where I used to attend and had a lot of fond memories as a young boy. It's 1976. CB craze is at its highest. It's summertime. Just got out of college, and I've got the same warped sense of humor. And we're sitting there in church, and our minister is a guy named Charles Edward Wood. Chuck Ed. Don't say that fast. And Pastor Wood, pretty straight-laced. But he'd gotten the call to the ministry late in life, and there was no doubt that he had been called. And he was a good man, but a sense of humor was not his, and was always pretty monotone. We're sitting there as the clock's getting close to 11 o'clock, and we always had a lot of people bring the wife and kids, and the men would go out to the standard station and smoke cigarettes and drink coffee. And one of the guys that did that was Bob Mary, and he had dropped off Roberta and Kevin and Kimmy, and they're sitting in there, and it's getting right up to 11 o'clock, and we had an old PA system at the Sanborn United Methodist Church, and what Bob didn't know outside and what we didn't know inside, he keyed that mic and it bled in. And the preacher was just getting ready to close his sermon, and Bob keys that mic outside and he says, how about you, honky tonk? You got your ears on? Well, the word honky tonk going through the Sanborn Methodist Church just caused a gasp like this in the mid-70s, and he said, just deadpan as can be, I do not believe that was the voice of God. So honky tonks always had a special meaning to me. Well, I just love to sit here on the front porch and rock and visit. And Miah, I'm so glad you dropped by with our other friends, Miah Michaelsen, right here in Sanborn with the Indiana Arts Commission.
Yeah, beautiful spot. Now look, John, I got to tell you, you're going to need to cut your lawn a little bit.
Well,
it's a little shaggy out here.
I understand that. You know, you never know whether it rains or freezes about grass in this day and age. But you know, the Indiana Arts Commission, I got to tell you, you know, I'm a Hoosier through and through. And I've seen a lot of great artwork in our state and all across the country. But as a child, you know, art was, you know, you made jokes about it. It was like the Napa calendar, you know, stuff like that, you know, with the But it's evolved. But art means so many different things to so many different people. I'm just curious how a professional, how would you define art?
You know what? I'm going to ask you a question. Did you sing in the choir, in your church choir?
I made a joyful noise.
Did you have a piano in your house?
I played, but not well.
That's all it is. It's the act of creativity. You know, it's being creative. Doesn't matter whether you're a professional artist, you make a living at it, or it's a hobby, or if it's something that brings you joy. That's art.
Well, I've traveled all around the state, and the imprint of the Indiana Arts Commission, going back to the number of years under a number of governors, going back to Bob Orr and Evan Bayh, O'Bannon, Kernan, Governor Daniels, Governor Pence, and now Governor Holcomb. I'm just amazed when I drive through various towns, seeing art on the side of buildings or seeing sculptures. Kokomo has this giant grasshopper.
Yes.
And
yes.
Rising Sun has this beautiful side of a building painted where they made some type of musical instrument in days gone by, something like a player piano. And you guys take art all over the state.
We do, and what we're seeing now is more and more small communities embracing their artistic side, embracing their creative side. You were talking about murals. The Tippecanoe Arts Federation up in Lafayette has been doing a great project in Tipton and Fowler and Rensselaer, where they've done murals on silos and on barns and on the sides of downtown buildings. And so you're seeing lots and lots of great arts activity happening.
Is this kind of like the days gone by chew mail pouch?
Well, no, actually it's
real. It's pictures of things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Butterflies and just all sorts of things.
I have seen those somewhere. I have. I've seen grain bins before painted like pencils. Little nubby pencils.
Yep.
Well, that's
there's
cool.
There's a silo somewhere in Indiana. I can't remember where it is. That's painted like a minion from the Despicable Me movies. I cannot remember where it is. But what's great is that rural communities are really leaning into the arts and really finding the creativity, harnessing the creativity in their community and celebrating the arts in lots and lots of fun ways. Talking about small towns that are really leaning into the arts, Rushville, up in Rush County, they are doing some amazing things in the arts right now. They just finished a mural a couple of years ago of Wendell Willkie, who was a presidential candidate who had his headquarters there.
1940.
Had his candidacy there, headquartered in Rushville, and we just funded a great project. They just completed an adorable little farmers market area there in Rushville, and we funded a mural there on the farmers market that celebrates farm and family, and it's the murals of FFA students out in the field. And we require them to acknowledge our funding because we want to thank our legislators and the citizens that help fund us. And they put our logo, I think, on the manure bucket that they were holding as they were fertilizing the ground. But anyway, it's great to see how rural communities are really leaning into the arts and doing really wonderful things.
Well, I would love to see one of those big wind turbines that you see in northern Indiana. Love to see one of them painted.
Right.
But when you mentioned Wendell Willkie, you and I've got a mutual friend in Mark Cruzan. Mayor of Bloomington. And we served in the legislature with a great guy named Dick Dellinger. Dick lives up in Noblesville, but he grew up in Elwood. And even though Willkie ran the campaign out of Rushville, the quintessential homecoming for him was in Elwood. And he's standing in the back of a convertible with his hands up, a necktie real short. Now, he was a Wall Street attorney. He was way ahead of his time, brilliant man. Wrote a book called One World, but this picture of him standing in the back of the car was in history books for 30 years all across America. And I can still remember Dick Dellinger, who's a legend to me, told about he sold Coca-Colas that day in Elwood, but instead of selling them for a nickel, they could sell them for a dime. So kind of a lost story.
Making money on politics.
Absolutely. I looked at the web page. I like looking at web pages, but the Arts Commission's got a fantastic web page.
We do.
Who doesn't?
Well, we've got a knockout communications staff. I'll give a shout out to Bridget Eckler, who is our communications director. We've got every community that we fund and every project we support, there's a story behind that. And so we want to make sure that the citizens of Indiana know how their tax dollars are impacting folks and impacting communities and changing people's lives. And so the more than 500 projects that the citizens of Indiana fund through the Indiana Arts Commission, every one of those is a story. And we really have a staff that does a great job in helping capture those stories and talk about the impact of that FFA mural, or that mural that we funded in Tipton, and so forth and so on. So again, or that small, or the new mural that we just funded in Greenfield, or the small festival, or the farmers markets, or any number of projects that we do, large and small, throughout the state. We're proud to serve the citizens of Indiana, and we're proud that the citizens of Indiana appreciate the arts in the way that they do, and celebrate the arts in the way that they do.
Well, it is something to celebrate, and you know, a world without arts would be horrible. And arts enrich our lives. Arts help us attract new businesses to the state. Arts help us keep our young people here. Arts help bridge that divide that we have, and we've got such a divided society today. And you know, an art is so therapeutic and relaxing. Well, I know there were two things jumped out that I want to chat with you about on the webpage. One of them was the Poet Laureate.
Oh, yes.
And I want you to help me with pronouncing the name. Tell me about him.
Adrian Matika. Adrian is our Poet Laureate.
And the other thing, there was a whole festival guide, and then it told about the Indiana Homecoming, or Indiana Arts Homecoming.
Yes.
So I want to hear all about that. I want to hear about that. That's important to me. And particularly about those festivals. We've got so many festivals in Indiana. I just love talking about Indiana, all of those festivals. But before I talk about this homecoming, I want to hear more about our Poet Laureate.
Absolutely. This is actually, the fact that Indiana has a Poet Laureate is actually was enshrined by the legislature. This is actually a legislatively dictated position, and he is selected, our Poet Laureate is selected every 2 years. We take submissions from poets.
You select
Yes,
the Arts Commission?
The Arts Commission helps facilitate, per the legislation, the Arts Commission.
I was going to say, because if the governor picked it, it was another reason I was upset I didn't win. We got a guy here in town that's a pretty good poet.
Is he? Now, well, I should get his name, because
it's only a Yeagle, but I'll have to
give you, let me know, because it's a 2-year term, and the Poet Laureate, their responsibility is to travel the state and share poetry, their own usually, or other types of poetry, with citizens in the state. And Adrian, who's on the faculty at IU Bloomington, has been a particularly active Poet Laureate. He's done quite a bit of work in underserved communities with underserved students on writing and reading and the creation of poetry. He's really been an exemplary Poet Laureate, and we've had some great ones. So that's another program that we're proud of. And Louis Rickey, who's our executive director, takes great pride in the fact that we are one of the few state arts commissions that has a Poet Laureate. It's pretty great.
Good for us. It's another reason why Indiana's a great
place,
a mighty special place.
Yes.
Well, tell me, Lisa and I, we've gone to all kinds of festivals. During campaigns, I'd go to festivals. It was normally limited to being in the parade, which isn't the same as enjoying the festival, but it was fun. But tell me about this Indiana Homecoming.
Sure.
I want to know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Indiana Arts Homecoming, this will be its 3rd year, and it's an annual 2-day sort of throwdown, for lack of a better word, get-together of all the arts in the state. We get together this past year it was in Fort Wayne, the first year it was in Indianapolis, and it'll be in Indianapolis again this year. It's an opportunity for artists, arts educators, arts advocates, communities that are interested to know more about art, businesses who are interested in getting engaged more in art. We've got mayors, we've got all kinds of folks that get together, and it's an opportunity to network with each other, to share what good communities are doing related to the arts, to learn about best practices, and just to sort of be together. Because again, artists can feel sometimes sort of isolated in their communities. Yeah, if there's not necessarily a large arts community in that area, they may feel a little isolated. So it's a great opportunity to bring everybody together, to celebrate what we do, share great stories of inspiration. You know, one of the great things that I take away from those is for people to learn about other great things that are happening in their state. For example, we had it last year in Fort Wayne, and we did it on the campus of Arts United, which is in downtown Fort Wayne, and right by the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, if you've ever been over there. And we had people from other parts of the state say, I had no idea. I had no idea Fort Wayne had what it has related to an arts campus. So it's also an opportunity to just highlight our great arts communities, and they're all over, small and large.
Well, you know, people just don't travel around like they should. We're busy.
Yep.
We don't take time to sit, relax, rock, visit, have an iced tea.
Yep.
You know, I remember as a kid when I would see someone draw, you know, whether it was in school, somebody that was talented. I don't have any type of artistical talent drawing like that. We used to have a woman come to our church, and she'd tell Sunday school stories and she'd draw while she was talking. You know, I remember that, and then hearing really good musicians play, and storytellers, and then sculptures and potterers. When you go to those festivals, you can see craftsmen. You can see it all. You absolutely can, and most all of it's free.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's an opportunity to celebrate the creativity of your neighbors and come together. It's an opportunity to come together, and that's what the arts do. And experiencing the arts allows us to come together in a way that we really need right now.
We do.
It's really important.
As we talked earlier, we're very divided. One thing I do notice, people of different backgrounds, they get excited about music.
Yep,
you know, and music is very much an art, and I like listening to music, but I do love listening to just all kinds of live entertainment.
Yep, absolutely.
I love live entertainment. It doesn't matter whether it's a genre that I like or not. We've got so many talented musicians in this state. We've been talking earlier, I told you a little tale using the word honky tonk, and I love to hear honky tonk music, that old Pabst Blue Ribbon country music.
Get your foot tapping kind of music.
Absolutely, you know, with the steel guitar, as people would say. And there's so many people that play that and then write those songs, and it gets your toe a tapping, and you know, it's just fun. And we're going to have some folks drop by here a little bit later today. The Who's Your Honky Tonkers, I'm going to call them. It's really the Dew Daddies. It's just two of them though, so we don't have the whole group, but we've got a couple here, and you've heard them play.
I have. They're great. They're from Bloomington, and you can catch them. I think they play pretty frequently in Bloomington, but they also tour all over. So,
and you know, that whole word honky tonk came from a roadhouse, and the type of the sound of the music and the type of place it was. It wasn't something where respectable people should go, but they all snuck out. You know, it's like they just do. But no. Well, I appreciate you stopping by and visiting with us today, and I want you to sit here because I want you to listen to some of this good honky tonk music.
I love that.
Thanks for your work on the Art Commission.
Thank you, John. And I understand you're a reformed accordion player, and so am I. So sometime I'm going to show up with my accordion. We're going to play together.
I'd love it. Merry Christmas, everybody, from Sanborn, Indiana. Well, it's not perfect, but Merry Christmas anyway. Well, I've mentioned the word honky tonk a couple of times on the show today, and I always like it when friends stop by that are musicians, and I've got two honky tonk musicians here. I've got my buddy Jerry Miller and the singing councilman himself, Andy Ruff from Bloomington. It's great to see you guys.
It's great to be here with you.
Now,
on the porch.
On the porch, on the front porch here in beautiful Sanborn. I'm normally used to, you guys are part of a group that's a little bigger, and that's called the
We are the Dew Daddies.
The Dew Daddies.
D-E-W Daddies.
D-E-W Daddies.
Not the Doo-Wah-Diddy Daddies,
Okay.
but just the Dew
Like
Daddies.
the good old Mountain Dew. So, but now when you two just play together, you're the
Our moniker for when we just play together, we are the Limestone Cow Dudes.
Limestone Cow Dudes. Well, I like that. I got to tell you, I love honky tonk music. It's real country.
Well, that makes three of us then, at least.
Yeah, it's three of us. It's not that phony country you hear out of Nashville today, but I'm glad you're here. I've never had a steel guitar in Sanborn before that I know of, and I've always told people that there's three musical capitals. There's Austin, there's Nashville, and there's Sanborn, Indiana. And you guys are making it happen here today. So what are you going to play for
It's
me?
like our own little Opry, our own little Sanborn Opry
Absolutely.
today, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do, our first number we're going to do is it's one we wrote. It's called Hoosier Honky Tonk, but it's actually about a guy from Texas who staggered up Indiana way and started looking for something like he hoped he might find back in Texas, and he instead finds a Hoosier Honky Tonk.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, I've been on the road 16 hours was a sign back there I've seen. It said, welcome to the Hoosier State. Hell, what's that even mean? And I don't know where my baby went. I only know that she's gone. But her memory has been a following me since I left San Antone. Well, ask a stranger, is there a honky-tonk anywhere near here? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, dim lights, music, and beer. He said, well, there's a bar just up the road, if that's what you're looking for. And some nights they got a pretty good band. In a minute I was in the door. But the band don't have twin fiddles like they do in them Texas towns. But the whiskey works just the same. So buddy, pour me another round. I've been praying she's gonna forgive me, but I know that she won't. I'm just a lonesome loser in some Hoosier honky tonk. Well, these people seem nice, but they can't dance and they don't have Lone Star beer. And I'm a wondering why in the hell they've got a Dixie flag in here. And there ain't one in the band. In my heart there's a crying steel guitar. I'm in a Hoosier honky tonk. I wonder where you are. But the band don't have twin fiddles like they do in them Texas towns. But the whiskey works just the same. So buddy, pour me another round. I've been praying that she'll forgive me, but I'm afraid she won't. Now I'm just a lonesome loser in some Hoosier honky tonk. Yeah, I'm just a lonesome loser in some Hoosier honky tonk. Woo! Yeehaw!
Andy and Jerry, thanks so much for coming by today. Always love it when friends stop by and musicians, extra pat on the back. And,
Thanks for having us.
well, we're glad you're here. We're glad everybody stopped by to see us. Nothing like visiting on the front porch, and I'm glad you're here. And till we see each other again, you're walking down the street this week and see somebody, they look like they're having a tough day, give them a smile. It may be the only one they get.
You want to do that old song of ours, the Vincent's Waltz?
All right, let's do it.
Kick it off, Jerry.
1, 2, 3, 1.
We used to go down by the Wabash back in old Vincent's. We'd dance and talk of our wedding day. We'd stroll along the shore, down where the driftwood had floated in, and I can still hear the sweet things she would say. We'd sit down by the river near the old buffalo trace, the moon sparkling on the water, caressing her face. Now when I cross moonlit waters, it always takes me back when we used to waltz by the Wabash back in old